G'day, this is Captainoob and this is the Sig Sauer Mpx. This is a highly customizable standalone submachine gun, complete with custom sounds and animations. This is quite a hefty weapon mod, coming in at like 330 megabytes, and you can tell that is reflected by the sheer quality of this weapon. Just looking at the meshes and textures here, it looks bloody superb, which is great. Now, this weapon does exist in real life, but I'm not going to get into the history or the use of this weapon because there is so many attachments that will be here forever if I do that. So we'll get straight into it. So for the receivers, what we want to do is chuck on a powerful receiver. The advanced receiver does 87 damage, which is okay. We can chuck it onto the knee plus ultra receiver, and that gives us 135 damage right off the bat, which is, yeah, that's going to punch really hard for a submachine gun there, which is good. Now, some of these mod descriptions actually have increases and decreases measured in percentages, which is actually great for knowing how much your weapon will perform better or worse depending on your attachments that you choose, which is actually really cool. We'll move on to the forms next, and basically what this is basically you can have this in a compact form, a standard form, or a carbine form, and it'll just give you a different barrel length. Obviously the compact form there does penalize you on the range a bit, and the carbine one will extend it out because, yeah, that sort of works, that's realistic. We'll keep on the standard one for now. Now for the barrels, what you have here is basically a bunch of different barrel lengths, and the longer the barrel is, generally the higher your range is going to be. So if you want your range to be the maximum, then this is what you want to put on, but I kind of like the look of a shorter barrel in there. I feel like that is what I want. That'll give us a happy medium between aesthetics and function there. So yeah, 141 range, we're not missing out too much, so we'll definitely go for that. Now there's also a integral suppressor there. Sorry, I misspoke there, but yeah, you can have it kind of like an ASVL, which is actually really cool. Standard configuration, so maybe this thing is meant to be quiet by default, which is kind of nice, but yeah, that's an option if you feel like it. Although if you want to chuck it on the muzzle slot, that is definitely possible. What we'll do is we'll chuck on the SRD suppressor, although there are muzzle brakes here, and even flash hiders there. So if you want to be loud and proud without that flash getting in your face, then yeah, that is definitely a really cool option. This Osprey suppressor here actually kind of looks like the 10mm suppressor, maybe that's where they got it from, but yeah, doesn't actually do as well. Apparently this one reduces your recoil more, which is actually kind of cool, so we'll keep that on the SRD suppressor, and we'll move on. Now for the optics, what you've got here is just the iron sights. You can have glow variants of those, and a couple of reflex sights, and you can actually put a scope on this. Now why you'd want to put a scope on a submachine gun is beyond me, but what I'm going to do is going to create a semi-auto one with a longer barrel and see what a scope can make this weapon do. Not sure how we're going to do at range since we're only firing pistol bullets, but yeah, we'll just have to see how that goes. We'll go for a nice reflex sight for this part. Now you can change the reticules on this. We'll go for a small dot. I kind of like the small dots on my battlefield weapons because it helped me aim with better precision, at least in my mind it did. But yes, we'll move on from that, and you can put the sight position up, so it's generally how close you are going to be to the sight when you aim down it. We'll go in a little bit forward so we can compensate if the little dot is too small, I suppose. And for the stocks, there's actually quite a lot you can do here. The skeletonized one sounds pretty cool, but I kind of like the telescoping stock, sorry. It reminds me of the version of the weapon that was in Battlefield 4 because that's actually where I first heard of this weapon. But I think that'll give us the best recoil control, so we'll go for the skeletonized stock there. And for the magazine, you can go from small to medium to large to extra large, which gives you a big old drum on the bottom there, which actually is kind of awesome. And whilst I kind of like the aesthetics of the large quick ejector mag, or just a large mag in this for aesthetical reasons, you can't really go past having a big drum on this because you'll be able to hose down your enemies for days with that, never have to reload. And for the grips, you can actually change the pistol grips here, which is kind of awesome. We'll go for the marksman's grip there. And as you can tell here, this thing has percentage increases and decreases on there, so you can that really helps you make an informed decision on what you actually want out of your weapon, which is awesome. That's some good stuff there. You can chuck a foregrip on. I like the vertical foregrip there. You'll actually grip onto that in first person. Whether you grip onto it in third person, we'll see. And we can go for an automatic fire mode or a semi-automatic fire mode, like I said, and you can upgrade those, and that'll give you a high rate of fire. So 150 rate of fire is going to be blistering fast, so that's going to be good. It'll also increase our range a little bit, which is awesome. Now for the semi-auto kit, that's probably the best you can gonna get. Unfortunately, it doesn't have 2 and 3 upgrade kits for the semi-auto pack, so I'm not really sure what that's all about, but that will increase your damage to offset its low rate of fire. So you get better damage, or better bullet efficiency out of that, which is nice. You can also chuck on some of these camos here. I don't have a couple of these available because I don't have Nuka Colas on me, but if you're doing some sort of Nuka World playthrough and you want to use this, and that's actually a nice context-sensitive one to use. There's one stainless steel, which requires a Braxo clear and acid, funnily enough, which is actually kind of neat. I do like the cleanliness of this, but yeah, not a lot of weapons you'd find in the Wasteland would be this clean, although debating whether this thing will be in the Wasteland in the first place is another video topic in and of itself. But not for me, we just want to use the weapons. We'll go for some woodland camo because green means radiation makes Iris happy. And you can change the caliber of this. Different calibers give you different, 213 damage, gives you more recoil, which makes a lot of sense. I think we can keep this at the 38 caliber conversion. This thing doing 178 damage is probably going to pulverize everything. Actually, you know what? Go hard or go home. Let's go 45 ACPs in this bad boy. Now, you can actually change the sounds of this, and I'll demonstrate those in a second. But yeah, there's 2 different types of sounds for you to use, which is great. So there's even customization on the sounds, how you perceive the weapon as the player. Isn't that nice? And a legendary effect, we won't need it. We've got 213 damage and a extremely high rate of fire. The only thing that'll hold us back is range, but I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. 132 is fairly decent. So that is our overpowered MPX. Let's see how this thing does. Righto, so here we are outside of Immersive Gunners Plaza in the daylight. Now, I usually like to play or shoot people in the cover of darkness because of the bonuses you get to stealth because the enemy's perceptions is down, but that's okay. I think we'll be doing just fine without the extra cloak of the night. Righto, so we're no longer sneak attack critting anyone now, and we're still doing very respectable damage. This thing appears to have very little recoil despite shooting 45s at a very fast pace, which is, I guess, that's something. It's a little bit unrealistic. Not even the Vector had to have a whole different system built into it to make sure to fire 45s at a decent rate. But yep, looks like we're doing just fine with the damage. Get a little bit of gun feel action happening here. I'm pretty sure I saw the Mysterious Stranger. There we go. Didn't really need the Mysterious Stranger though, because we're doing just fine without him. Okay, let's start moving around here because I don't like being a sitting duck being shot. The easiest thing to do here is to run around and go topside because a lot less gunners are waiting for you over here. And from the roof you can attack the rest of them from a relatively safe place. So these guys weren't even switched on. Usually when I'm using a suppressed weapon, once one of them spot me, they all come running, so that's kind of interesting. At least during the night that happens, but yeah, not entirely sure. Alright, we might as well start climbing the rest of this, and we'll take out the gunners up top. I'm dead, they say. Oh, that one's got a stealth boy. Well, too bad he's at point blank range, and I've got a 60-round drum to deal with him. There we go. There we go. There goes the Mrs. Creation Club Gauss rifle. Oh wait, no, that was her. She just had a twin sister, apparently. And we get all of those rounds back thanks to Scrounger. I think it might be Scrounger. Right, we'll crack this open and we'll use this as a holdout area. Not that we'll really need it because we haven't really gotten through much of our health bar just yet, taking out these gunners. So yeah, that's kind of good. Okay, now it gets a little bit desperate because I'm under that 50% threshold here, which means I gotta take a little bit of care. And by taking a little bit of care, I'll take out enemies cheaply using VATs. And as you can tell, you get a lot of shots in this thing in VATs, so that's very, very useful for getting yourselves out of tight situations if you can have a very well VATs built character. There we go. Look at these jumping gunners, they can't get up, so you just stand still and I'll bloody kill you. Oh, we got some sneak attack crits on them. We're back into caution and back into sneak attack crit territory, and look at that damage we can stack on them when we're nice and hidden. But obviously, all good things must come to an end, and now we're in Nerd Rage, getting shot at by all of these guys. Probably should have prioritized killing those blokes first, but well, we'll see how we go with doing this. Ooh, looks like we're getting some gun foo action here. And yeah, sure, let's kill that charred feral ghoul. Okay, we'll spam that crit button, make sure everyone gets a critical, because yeah, we kind of need that. The damage bonuses from Nerd Rage and Destroyer of Arcadia, I think that's what it's called. I think it's called Arcadia without the R, but if you say it like Arcadia, it just rolls off the tongue better. So technically I'm wrong, so everybody disliked the video because I got a place name wrong. That's totally relevant to the weapon I'm using. Almost got her. Her combat armor protected her just a little bit. I should have been sneaking, but now that feral ghoul is going to become active, and we got some of our health back due to Nerd Rage giving us a little bit of a bonus when we slay our enemies, which means we can probably go straight back into Nerd Rage at this point. Oh, some good hitboxes there, Todd Howard. Screwing me over there. But it was a nice way to get those guys nice and distracted for a little bit. And we're back into Nerd Rage again, ready to lay the pain down on them. Rain of Pain, they call it, in Battlefield 3. Gonna bring the rain of pain on them, look out! Anyone get nostalgic for Battlefield 3? Alright, time to activate wall hacks apparently. Thank you, Vats. Spam that crit button. You can get him. One more shall do him. Thank you to Concentrated Fire for getting us that plus 20% bonus targeting that one dude. I have no idea what was happening there. That was just probably Fallout 4 being silly and nothing to do with the weapon mod itself. But it's... Oh, wow, really? That's what we're doing, Bats camera? Interesting. Well, now we're exploding because I can't get out of Vats. Thank you, Mysterious Stranger. I really don't like how you can't exit Vats out of when a Mysterious Stranger shows up. Although I guess if you exit Vats, you could probably see him in real time and interact with him, which would be bad. That gunner was really bad at her job. See, I think all of the gunners have permanent eye damage from being out in the sun because, yeah, I guess without the ozone layer protecting you from the UV rays, it bloody roasts your eyeballs, and that is why all of the enemies are so unperceptive in Fallout games, and why the Sole Survivor by comparison is a little bit more perceptive, because obviously the player needs it, but the player can see everything quite clearly, and it makes sense because the Sole Survivor is a person who survived the nuclear... Oi, who's hiding from me? You can't get away. The devastating irony of saying you're seriously fucked before being gunned down like that. Okay, so there you have it. That was the MPX in immersive outside of, or actually, yeah, at Immersive Gunners Plaza on the outside. And yeah, we kicked a lot of ass there. This thing has the good damage, has the right amount of damage to actually make it viable without using a suppressor all the time. I probably could have done that without a suppressor and would have been just fine. So yeah, we'll get on to the sounds of this thing, and then I'll go inside and I'll see what that semi-auto one can do. Righto, so this one has a scope which is see-through. You can actually change between see-through and normal and night vision scopes, which is actually kind of awesome, and the scope decal is from a mod that shall remain nameless there. And yeah, that's what we look like with this thing with the carbine barrel. It looks more like a rifle until you look at the magazine there. Okay, so this is what the standard one looks like in first person, and yes, you do grip the foregrip in third person there, so spot on with the animations. Everything on this weapon mod works great. So we'll use our semi-auto scoped one, and we'll see if we can clear out Gunners Plaza without being spotted at least. Now right off the bat, we're getting about the same sort of damage we did. We get a little bit more, but yeah, with the automatic weapons getting the sneak attack criticals like they do, we can actually beat this thing's DPS using the automatic one if we constantly stack sneak attack crits. So yeah, that's something to just kind of interesting there. This thing doesn't seem very balanced compared to its automatic counterpart. The recoil is super easy to control, obviously being a submachine gun with a super long barrel like this, you wouldn't expect it to be kicking a lot, so that's fine. It is also nice that we get a little bit of extra range out of it to help out at range too, so yeah. That longer barrel will be giving us a bit of a benefit. Maybe it'd be more beneficial to use this outside of Immersive Gunners Plaza, but I wanted to use the automatic one exclusively there. You had no excuse for not seeing me, I was right in front of you. Okay, now we can target these turrets and that gunner commander who's having a good old sit down there. Make sure we don't get spotted by that turret. Okay, Captain Bridget sees us because her perception is like, I don't know, 14 maybe. Pretty much as high as dog meats. So this is a good test to see if we can actually get the sniper knockdown on these guys. See if it's actually regarded as a scoped rifle. The base chance of that is 15%, so if we're not going to be seeing that with, let's see, 7 or so shots in a row, then either it's bad RNG or maybe it just doesn't happen. I'm leaning towards that we don't actually get any use out of the sniper perk out of this, which would make it a little bit more viable compared to its automatic brother for, you know, like actually sniping stuff. But yeah, at this point I don't actually see too much reason to use the semi-auto one over the automatic one, the full auto one. 1026 damage on that bloke though, so yeah, you can't knock that damage sometimes, but I'm getting the sneak attack criticals. I would have killed him just as fast, or maybe not just as fast, but around the same speed, but probably with more bullets with the automatic variant there. You can't touch this today. I am seen by absolutely nobody, except for the enemies that I placed in there. So yeah, I DJ Khaled played myself. Also, for whatever reason, the gunner up here hasn't shown up either. That's okay. But we can finish off Gunners Plaza in the interior very, very easily there. I'd imagine most of the damage we got was from Captain Bridget's damage over time gun. That's very overpowered, makes her a very high value target. And we jumped on the earth again, isn't that nice? So there you have it, that was a semi-auto one in Gunners Plaza. I prefer the automatic one in general. Better damage, better DPS, so yeah, or better DPS, more to the point of it. But yeah, it's still nice to have that option of going semi-auto, even though you can't really utilize it to its full potential without, you know, the sniper perk going at it. Also, this light bloom is really weird. Okay, so there's Swan over there, and it looks like he's heard of the power of the MPX, and yeah, looks like he's brought his mates, but they don't look too keen on sticking around for the slaughter, so yeah, Swan is all on his own again. He can't count on his super mutant friends all that well, can he? Now, we have aggroed everyone since they're all on the same sort of faction side in terms of game speak, so yeah, they'll transfer that information to each other. So if one of them is in caution, generally you'll find that all of that faction are in caution there, and as soon as they spot you, everyone will know where I am, even the ones around the corner who can't actually see me. Too bad for these guys, they aren't super mutant warlords, or okay, there they are. The big boys are coming to play, but we'll cut them down nice and quickly because we'll get sneak attack criticals because I'm playing in the night, and you become in some sort of phantom that can never be spotted if you're playing at night. That is why you want to use suppressors and play at night, people. The night person perk too allows you just that extra vision during the night with that night vision that you get while sneaking. It's a little bit jarring, especially when you go into crouch and then open your Pip-Boy right away because you get this nonsense. But yeah, other than that, it's a pretty solid perk that situationally is pretty useful, although I don't really see people raiding it too much. Oh, also there's a thing over there. I think I've got a quest mod installed. Let's leave that alone, but yep. We can kill Swan very easily with a gratuitous sneak attack crit stackery, so yeah. It's a pretty standard thing around here, but the MPX is no exception to the power of the other weapons that are great with a suppressor there. So yeah, good stuff out of that. Well, I'll do one more thing. Okay, let's take out a giant lobster. Don't have to worry about the sunlight. I think this weapon's power can do him in just fine. We'll start off with the semi-auto one, and then when it hits the fan, we'll move over to our automatic one. Okay, it's definitely hit the fan at this point. Let's get ourselves our automatic one. Oh, he's going in for the charge there. Let's just tank this with VATS defense happening. Okay, he's passed over. We'll move on. There we go. Let's just avoid his toxic spit. That's usually helpful. And yeah, we'll just fire in his general direction and hope we can get some hits. Oh, he's actually got a nasty aim on him, this guy. Okay, let's target his face. There it is. Pop a crit there just to get started. 267 damage times 3. Very good stuff there. There we go. He's nice and staggered. Might as well use that time to pop a quick reload. Here he comes once again. And yeah. If we start to get hit by his things, we'll pop the old Aqua Girl trick and escape his detection for a moment. And then we'll pop out of nowhere and gain some sneak attack crits on him. Got to make sure we hit him in the head constantly, and that'll give us quite a lot of damage. Ooh. I've been quite lucky so far. None of his spitters actually hit me yet, and that does a whole lot of damage, so yeah, that's kind of nice. Okay, some more phase shots in that. Seem to be getting a little bit more damage. Maybe this weapon's range is a little bit more limited than I thought, because yeah, it was doing much better damage than that when it was closer, which is kind of interesting. Alright, enough of this that stuff. We'll just hit him with our hip fire there because he gets nice and staggered by this thing. And that is way too close, dude. Personal space, personal space. Alright, we'll go over here. Keep swimming away from him. And yep, he moonwalks underwater because he can. And yeah, we forgot to reload. He's knocked off about half our health and has learned the ability to climb trees. Now, if real crabs learned this, I think the human race would be buggered because, yeah, I don't think we can fight tree climbing crabs. They could camo up there so much easier. They would destroy us easier than those Vietnamese farmers destroyed those American soldiers in that war that America doesn't like talking about. Everybody prepare the dislike button for insulted patriotism. Thank you, mysterious stranger. Okay, so he's about a mag and a half away from dying, which is good. We're out of AP, so we don't have the option of sprinting away. And he is really adamant about going over that tree, and he's done it, the madman. The absolute madman, he's done it. And goodbye, Mr. Lobster Krabby Man. Your time is up. See, even without sneak attack criticals, you can kill a very hard creature that shouldn't exist and is overpowered by vanilla means quite easily, you know, provided you can outpath him and do all of that nonsense. But yeah, definitely an effective weapon all round. You don't need to rely on stealth to get the kills, which is a huge bonus. So this thing, even on big boy, very hard difficulty, you can have a good time on and have a breeze killing the enemies. And if you think it is too overpowered, that's a simple trick called using personal restraint to make the weapon feel a little bit more balanced. So you could probably chuck on the advanced receiver if you're using this on a survival difficulty, where you know you get that damage multiplier rather than divider, the opposite of multiplier, penalty. Yes. So yeah, use a little bit of restraint if you feel like it's overpowered, and you'll have a fine weapon at your side. And you know what? It's an awesome weapon mod all round, so I do highly recommend downloading this if you haven't already. I'm a little bit late to the party. I should have done this yesterday, but yeah, awesome weapon mod. Also has reload animations in third person. Definitely download this if you can. Thank you for watching, guys. Links will be in the description if you feel like it. And swear that I don't have a gun. I'm testing my microphone.